What's up? Welcome to the final word on the Castle Grayskull Mega Construx. Now I know that I've already done a couple videos on this, and I even talked about that, the fact that I've already done like 3 videos on this, and why do I need a 4th? I wanted a 4th to do an actual YouTube, made for YouTube video, because the other ones have been collage videos and whatnot that I've taken from my TikTok. This I wanted to address directly. This is what I got. Now this set came with quite a few things. And it was a crazy build. And I want to do a final review on whether or not this thing is worth the price that I paid. Let's do it. Okay, so first off, let's go ahead and get this one out of the way right now. This thing is major. It is major. And depending on when you get it, you could pay upward of $350, if not $400, as low as $250. It sits around that range depending. You can find it as low as $200 if you look around and you find the proper sale. But the more of these get built, the less of them there are, and especially this red box here, these are starting to go away. Now I did a full unboxing where I actually talked about the inside and things like that and stuff that you got. With this set, we got a couple of figures, and they were solid figures. However, I personally felt like they were missing some figures, so I bought a couple. I bought a Skeletor with a Battle Cat, or rather a Skeletor with a Panther. I bought a Teela, just a normal Teela, because they have the Sorceress Teela. And then, or the Eternian Goddess, depending on how you would like to phrase that. And then I bought an Evelyn, because I felt like those were figures that were missing to really make this set happen for me. That was a personal move on my part. You don't have to make that move. But it didn't cost me all that much money. Now I will say that for what these are, I probably wouldn't have spent the money had I not bought this set. Teela was about $6, and Evelyn was about $6, and they were by themselves, single figures, and these figures are not huge. But on a personal level, I felt like it was worth it, because I specifically wanted Castle Grayskull, if this was the only thing I ever got, to shine. I wanted it to work, and I wanted it to be mine. This was a difficult build for what it was worth. It felt very easy at times. There were times that I was going through it, and I've built hundreds of Lego sets, so keep that in mind. As I was going through it, it felt very easy, and then every now and then something just wouldn't snap together properly, and it was a real pain to put it together and really lock it down and make sure that it stayed. This part in particular was a bit of a nightmare. I don't know why, but I had to take that apart and put it back together about 3 different times. About 4, actually. And I could not get it to clip in the way that I wanted it to clip in. And then when it did, it felt very loose. And then later, after I'd actually done a couple of videos, one of the videos specifically, if you've already seen it on this channel, was talking about how this was a bit of a pain. I basically pulled that top piece off after that video and snapped it back on and got it on perfectly. And since then, there's been no problems. So one thing I'll tell you without a doubt is that if you're going to get this, take your time. Don't rush the process. Take your time. Every single brick, do it one at a time. Make sure that everything is secure. Make sure that everything is tight. Because at the end, you're going to be expected to put the 2 halves together. And that was difficult. See, you have to make sure that everything in here that you've built lines up and is built perfectly, and everything is pushed down and everything is tight, because you're going to clip it all together. And when you clip it all together, it's either going to work or it's not going to work. And that is as absolute as I could possibly make this. That was a very true thing when I started putting this together. And the part that you're clipping together is one of the parts that's kind of funny. See, this opens this way, not this way. And because of that, it's a little bit iffy when you start putting the pegs together over here. because this has got the most pegs and it had the part that was most difficult to line up and make feel right. So when this opens up now, it opens up like this, and that very much works now. But it was a bit of a pain when I was first putting it together. Now what you just saw me do, you'll notice I was not scared of it falling apart. This thing is sturdy once you have it together and once you have it right. And it's spectacular on the inside. I cannot stress that enough. Once this thing was put together and was done right and everything was solid, I was not afraid that it would be in trouble, that I would damage it, or that it would have problems. I simply was not worried about it. All the features are here, and they work. The elevator works. The trapdoor works. Things of this nature, which I've already gone over in the other videos as I was putting it together. I demonstrated things like the actual trapdoor and things of that nature. So I'm not going to go into that here. This is just a quick rundown of my experience in general. Once I had this thing fully put together, it was magnificent. I did not expect that from the inside and outside they would match quality. I didn't. But the elevator works, the trapdoor works, the computers are here, the door is here, the skulls are up here. This is very much based on the Classics version of Castle Grayskull, including things like the secret door, the secret entrance into Castle Grayskull, and the area down here which can be pushed out and broke if you wanted to do something like that during your play pattern stuff, during the stuff you wanted to do, your play. Of course, as an adult collector, I just wanted to make this thing and be able to display it and be able to make it. That's what I wanted. I wanted to build Castle Grayskull brick by brick, and I did it. I got this thing on sale, so I only paid about $200 for it. And I'll tell you, that felt like a big drop to me when I made it. But because of the way my life is, I only have a couple of hours a day that's spare time, if that, and that's if I'm lucky. So believe it or not, it took me about 6 solid days of coming up here and working on this bit by bit, tower by tower, staging the pieces and everything. And only one problem did I really come across rather, when I built this whole thing, and that was specifically with this part right here, but not the part that you're thinking, not the part that I keep talking about where it doesn't all click together properly. I was missing a part. One part of this whole thing, of the whole set, I was missing one brick, and I looked everywhere. I checked every single bag. I didn't throw a single thing away while I was making this. So when I came across a moment where I was missing one brick, I started tearing into every bag, looked through everything, opened the box a second time, swept through the carpet and everything, making sure that I didn't drop anything, checked every single little itty-bitty area that I could think of, and laid every single brick that was currently in my staging tray out one at a time to see what was going on, and I could not find this brick. It did not exist. Now luckily, it was at a point where at this very top piece right here, that brick didn't matter. That brick didn't matter. It wasn't the type of brick that was going to clip into anything. It wasn't going to hold anything in place. It was more like a, how do I put this? It was more like the kind of brick that was specifically there to add detail. It was going to close a tiny gap in between this going down, a flat piece type of thing, that would then close this and kind of make it look like masonry work. That wasn't there. But I'm lucky that Castle Grayskull is supposed to look beat up anyway. So missing a single brick did not destroy the entire experience for me. But depending on what brick would have been missing, this could have been an absolute catastrophe. It could have destroyed the experience completely. Something to keep in mind. I don't have a lot of Mega Construx. I have this, and I have some Pokemon that I bought for my kid. That's it. So when all of a sudden a piece was missing, I did go into panic mode for a minute. And that piece was legit missing. It did not come with the set. I don't know why. And it's one of the pieces that is absolute most plentiful. So it's these round pieces that then have 2 holes in them. So it's just a 2-block, round, 2 holes in it, and you'll get like 36 of these things. And I was missing one. Didn't come with it. Don't know why. Luckily, it did not ruin the experience because I was literally in a panic when I noticed that these things were missing. I thought that I was completely done for. I thought that the experience was done. I was lucky. That's not the case. This came out perfectly. I made Castle Grayskull. It works. It looks great. All the figures are now incorporated into it. In fact, here's Zor right here. We'll just put her here just because. There. We've got Zor sitting here. That's perfect. So that's every figure that I have currently in the castle. Roundabout little battle stage that I set up. And I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this quite a bit. This was an absolute solid build. A bit of a pain in certain places, but well worth everything that I did. Oh, and for what it's worth about this entire thing in general, is it worth the price? Because to me, I had a fantastic experience, even with my problem aside. As I said, I did run into a problem, but that problem basically fixed itself, and I didn't have to worry that much. It was simple enough for me to put together. I don't know what your level of experience is with these kinds of things. As I said, move slow and make sure you've got everything tightened down and put where it's supposed to go. Don't move ahead until you're absolutely sure of each step. And sometimes if it helps, look at the next picture as you're building. It will assist you. And don't open any bag until the instructions specifically tell you to open the bag, because the stages of building this are laid out brick by brick, bag by bag, step by step. So if you don't move ahead, if you don't jump ahead and think you have it figured out, you'll do just fine. Take a breath. Even if you've never done one of these, I do feel like with some patience, you'll be okay. You open 2 bags or 3 bags at a time. Use the pieces in those bags until you've built the small area that it wants you to build. Then it'll tell you to open another 2 bags and so on and so forth. Believe it or not, one of the hardest parts of this entire experience was putting together little guys. These little action figure guys, the ball joints, are pretty tight. Once you get them together, they're together. That's what they're gonna be. I noticed that when I got this going, that some of them were tough to put together, and then getting them together was, it was a pain. That when it was finally done, I was really happy, because it was very, very obviously noticeable that at that point it was gonna be what they were gonna be. But they are little action figures, and they are really cool. So I don't mind the fact that they were a little tough to put together, because that also means it'll be tough to take them apart or have them fall apart. That's not something that I'm concerned about. It's not something that's going to happen. So, those are my current thoughts in the aftermath of building the Mega Construx Castle Grayskull. If you have any questions about the build or anything like that that you feel I didn't really talk about, you could post in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to kind of fill some things in. Or if I get a bunch of questions that I feel really need addressed, I could come back and talk about it further. I just felt this needed I just felt that this topic, this massive collector's piece, really needed a final word to close it all down and say this is what this is, because it is fantastic. And it was really cool, and I definitely am looking forward to buying Snake Mountain at this point. After this, I could positively say that the Mega Construx castles work. This is well done, and I'm looking forward to doing some more. That was all that I have to say, spanning, I think, 4 videos on Mega Construx Castle Grayskull. For me, I would pay $300 for this if I had to. I got lucky. I found it on sale. Maybe you will too. If you don't have one, if you've been on the fence, I actually think it's worth it. Anyways, this thing is awesome. Later on.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.